All right, so before we continue with the next part, we actually need to start building a context. And essentially, a context is a way of managing state that doesn't require us to pass props in place. If we look right now, we have quite a few variables that we're passing around: detail array, filtered array, type filters, all this stuff. All these functions. We can manage this in a context provider, and then we can access those variables directly instead of having to pass them down to a table and then pass them down to type filters and pass all these setter functions, things like that. We can manage all of that in a context. So let's build a context. It's a little bit complicated, but it is probably the best way that we can manage state, especially as we start to scale apps up. So I'm going to create a new folder called context, and we're going to create a new file. I'm just going to call it context.css. And in here we got quite a few modules. First of all, we need to use client for context. So I'll just throw that here just so I don't have to worry about that. And then we're going to import a few different modules from React. Use context, use state, React node, and use effect as well. We're probably going to use all of these things. React node is the type that we're going to be using here. Import that from React. And now we have all of our imports taken care of here. And the next thing we need to do is start building, we need to build an interface. And an interface is similar to a type, but we can use it specifically for what we're doing here. So we're going to hold our props here, and we can declare the type and the name of it and the type. So let's look at page.tsx and consider what we might manage here. I think we could probably manage our Pokemon detail array, that kind of stuff. So maybe we'll actually just call it Pokemon array, especially since now we're handling getting the details from the back end. We don't even need to call it detail array anymore. We'll just call it array. So we'll say array, and the type of that will be this, which means we need to import that type as well. Like that. Beautiful. All right, and you can. The good thing is we can build up. For now, I'm just going to do this so you can see the most basic form. Okay, now let's say interface context. Sorry, not interface. Context equals, and then we're going to use this create context function that will have be imported from React. And here we're going to have the type, and the type is going to be this right here, the interface that we created. So context props. And you know what? I think I should capitalize this like that. And then we open this, and then inside of here, we declare the same thing, but then we put the default value for it set. So Pokemon array, and then the default value will be an empty array. So now we have our context set up. Now we need to create a context provider, and we're going to export an export function, context provider. This is a component with a capital letter here. We're going to use it like a component. And we're going to have the children as the prop. The children are basically whatever goes inside. As I mentioned quite a while ago, when you create custom components, usually they're self-enclosing. However, a context wraps around the child component. So in this case, we actually need to pass the children in, which are going to be of the type React node. And then we can create our Pokemon array. This and set Pokemon array like this, and it's going to be use state, of course Pokemon type, and default to that empty. Oops, quite a context const like that. Okay. And then the last thing we need to do is, well, to actually get this set up, before we start adding a bunch more stuff is actually return a context provider. So we type our context name here, which is just context dot provider, which is a built-in part of we create context, and then the value will, these are the props. The value has to be whatever goes here, so we're going to put Pokemon array, which is going to be Pokemon array. I don't know why sort. What happened there? Pokemon array, Pokemon set Pokemon array. There we go. And oh, okay. So we're returning that, and this is going to be wrapped around the children here. So we're going to put the children inside of here like this. There we go. So save that, and this is the very basic setup here. And then what we want to do at the bottom is we actually want to create another function using the context. So it's going to be export function use context. Which is we already have one declared here, so we're going to say use Pokemon context or something like that. And then it's going to return the use context of the context name, which is context, like that. So this will allow me to have access to whatever is in here, and that's what's returned by the provider here. So this is the very basic setup with just a single variable using TypeScript. Unitech is going to come into play because we want to, let's go back to page.tsx. And remember, this is where we actually did this. So I'm going to take this out. And I'm going to put that into our context provider, like this, right inside of here. And we need to import that set. Import set Pokemon. Sorry. No, you don't need to import that. That's just right here. Set Pokemon array. Whoops. So we just need to have that there. So we're going to set it to the data we get now. Now this is going to do the same thing. It's going to run like before. Now what we're going to do is go to layout, and we're actually going to wrap the body in this context provider here. So this thing that's returning the context provider is going to be wrapped around our layout. So we're going to import that. Import. This is one of the few times where it changes to layout context. Import context provider. And then we are going to wrap it around here like this. Context provider. And then put this stuff inside of here. And now everything that's inside of here will to the context provider, including page and everything else. And then what we can do is, instead of having this here, we're going to take this out, and we're going to import, or we're going to say, sorry, const, I believe this is how we do it, Pokemon array equals, we need to import that, import use Pokemon context, and then use Pokemon context, and then that's it. So this is one of the things this is the thing that's available here. And now all I have to do is wherever I have Pokemon detail array, we're going to change it to this and this. So set state action. Hold on. It was actually the type of Pokemon detail of Pokemon. Go. Let's get that back over to page. There we go. And now, if we did everything correctly, we shouldn't have any change actually. it should still work just fine. Oops. And hey, it works just fine. We're just importing it from there. So what? Now what do we have to do? Well, we can handle our filtering there as well. We can move a lot of stuff over to our new context, but actually I think I want to leave it there and then do the advanced context in the next video, start moving more stuff over to our context, and then sort of establishing why we want to do this and how this helps us to continue to expand our app further.